Welcome to the Topic 9 overview for the 2020-2021 WRDSB Math Long Range Plans. As we land on this homepage, note that the adjusted times and calendar are now available due to the March break shuffle. We're going to go ahead and scroll down. There's the calendar there on the homepage. You'll also find the adjustments on the grade homepage in grade 5. The topic order is the same, it's just spring break has been shuffled down. We're going to click on topic 9 and take a look at the expectation cluster. Topic 9 is based on the overall expectation B2 from the number strand. Under the expectation B2, we are focusing on students making connections between the properties of various operations, particularly multiplication division. We're looking at students building their fluency and mental math toolbox from single-digit whole numbers to decimals and percents. We're also looking at students exploring various strategies to solve multiplication and division problems, strategies and models. Let's see what insights we can glean from the curriculum site. Here, we're going to click on the link there for B2, and we're going to click Compare Grades. When we click Compare Grades, this is a great way of seeing how students progress from 4, 5, and 6. It's a good way of being aware of where students are coming from potentially and where they need to go. We'll be specifically looking at properties and relationships here, math facts, mental math, and multiplication and division. For our purpose, we have created a visual that can help us see the big picture of all the text that's in these tables. So we are going to refer to that visual. Just a note here, all of the content from the visual is just pulled straight from these tables, but it's a bit easier to look at when we see it in visual form. So we're going to start with properties and relationships. It's an important piece. In grade 4, students are learning about the various properties of all the operations, and they're making connections between all the operations and using that to solve problems involving whole numbers. You'll note that in prior grades, grade 3, they're making connections between multiplication and division, and there's grade 2 and 1, they're working on specific connections in properties of various specific operations, but in grade 4, we're moving to all of the connections together. In grade 5, students are also learning about the various properties of the operations. They're, again, making connections between all the operations and using them to solve problems involving whole numbers, and this time including decimal values. In grade 6, that continues, but this time we're working with whole numbers, decimals, fractions, and percents over here. That's the properties piece. When we look down to operations, before we go to operations, there's actually some math facts and mental math progression that's happening here. In the math facts, students are engaging with up to 10 by 10 multiplication and dividing by 10. In grade 4, in grade 5, they move up to 12 by 12 multiplication and dividing by 12. And in grade 6, they're moving on to dealing with divisibility patterns and divisibility rules for numbers 2 to 10. So that's shown here in these math fact visuals, how that progresses from 4, 5, and 6. And in the mental math category, students in grade 4 are engaging with multiplying, dividing base 10 values, 100, 10, 10, 100, and 1,000. And in grade 5, you see that progress to dealing with base 10 values in the decimal tenths and decimal hundredths. And in grade 6, they're engaging with percentages, these friendly percentages of 1, 5, 10, so on. That completes the property section. We move down to operations. We see that in multiplication division, grade 4 students are starting with multiplying 2 to 3 digit numbers by 1 digit number. Now, it's important to note that these are up to. So these are goals at the end of your goals. So students are not necessarily not starting with multiplying 3 digit by 1 digit, but that's the progression, the end of your goals. So they're doing that. They're also multiplying by 10, 100, and thousands, which is that base 10 concept there. They're dividing up to 2 to 3 digit numbers by 1 digit number and representing any remainders as fractions. In grade 5, students are multiplying by up to 2 digits by 2-digit whole numbers, and they're dividing by up to 3-digit by 2-digit whole numbers. In grade 6, students are multiplying and dividing by up to 3-digit by decimal tenths, so that the focus becomes that decimal value multiplication and division. They're also working with factor trees, composite numbers, and prime numbers. Let's head back to the curriculum site and explore some teacher supports. So as a big overview there, we are going to jump into some teacher supports. We've chosen grade 6 because there's some visuals there, but a lot of these are also present in grade 4 and 5. Teacher supports are a really good resource for you to tap into as you prepare to teach a topic. So under 2.6, there's key concepts listed and discussed. One of the visuals that I enjoyed was looking at these factor trees and how in grade 6 we're dealing with composite and prime numbers and composites that are products of prime numbers. So this is something that you might be used to, you might also want to refer to. Particularly under 2.7, we can see that there's an open array modeled there in the decimal tenth multiplication for grade 6. This is also something that's present in the grade 5 section of teacher supports. So teacher supports are a really good reference. I highly recommend checking that out. We're going to head back to the LRP site now and explore further the other pieces of that topic page. So along with the expectation cluster, it's important to note here that we have made these connections and notes in that have little link icons in yellow, and they're just outlining explicitly the pieces of other strands that can be connected to this expectation cluster. And you might actually be teaching and doing this in teaching the expectation cluster. So that's something to note there, to be aware that that's there in topic 9. And as usual, math up connections, additional problems that are started to be listed here, but also furthermore available in this sample page. One of the things we've added to this sample problem page are those connections and specific problems that are tailored to those connections under those topics. So for example, here we've got a measurement connection in this array representation of multiplication. So it's just a good way of noting that, hey, when I'm teaching multiplication, I'm actually at the same time able to teach measurement, being aware of that. So we have that available there for you. And as usual, we've got the fluency pieces, the ongoing focus on the models and tools, including the virtual learning resources and tools. One thing that we want to point out that's new is that we have under our resources all the virtual manipulatives that have been listed so far in the long-range plans are all linked there and available, alphabetically listed. So if you're looking for a specific resource that you're like, oh, I remember in topic 2 or 3, you don't have to go dig around. You've got one place you can get for that. So that is our topic 9 overview.